Okay, so what is up guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I wanted to talk to you guys about why somebody like me, who is a keyboard enthusiast, almost always ends up choosing Gateron switches over Cherry MX switches. I would almost every time choose a Gateron version of a switch over the Cherry MX version, and in this video, I wanted to talk to you about why.
The God of Gods!
There are two reasons, and the first one is basically going to be availability and accessibility. In very many cases, I don't know if it's because of the prices or anything, because I am not a keyboard manufacturer, I just buy these things and use them. But in many cases, usually when a keyboard is fresh off the line, when a keyboard is still brand new, or even if it's a review unit, the versions that are almost always available are either some sort of proprietary version or Gateron switches. I'm not sure why Cherry MX isn't always the forefront, so I really don't know. Maybe it's the price, maybe it's something else. Let's take Akko for example. They probably make the most keyboards of any keyboard manufacturer, right? Akko is very popular, they make a lot of keyboards, and every single time I want to buy a new Akko keyboard that was just released this week, for example, and I go on the site, I can either pick Akko switches or they give me Gateron switches. In some rare cases, I get Kali box switches. But beyond that, I hardly ever see Cherry MX switches. But at the start, when it's important for me as a tech reviewer to actually buy, I'm never able to get Cherry MX versions of these switches. Now, the second reason is more of a preference thing that was developed over time. And this is very subjective, it's just a personal thing. But what I've noticed is the springs in the switches, whatever type of switches you choose, red, blues, browns, whatever, the springs in the switches on Cherry MX switches are always slightly harder, slightly stiffer than the springs inside of Gateron switches. And I know it might sound like a ridiculous reason to choose something like that, but if you buy the exact same keyboard, say for example in my case, I used the exact same Akko 3068. I got them in Cherry MX reds and then I got them in Gateron reds, right? If I take these two boards and I actually type on them side by side, you can actually notice, you can tell that the Gaterons are a lot quieter, a lot easier to type on, a lot smoother, and they give me less of a bump when I'm trying to type on this. It's very difficult to pass this across over video. I mean, even though I am showing you typing test examples and giving you sounds right now, it's very difficult for me to actually explain how it feels on my fingers. So you're only going to feel that before you can actually understand what I'm talking about. But the gist is, Gaterons are less stiff when you compare them to the Cherry MX versions. Be it reds, be it blues, be it greens, be it blacks, be it whatever color of Gaterons you choose, they almost always end up being slightly less stiff when you compare them to the Cherry MX versions. The final reason, which is a bonus reason, is going to have to be variety. With Cherry MX, there are very limited amounts of switches that you can try, but with Gateron, there are so many switches. In fact, it's difficult for me to actually decide which of the switches are my favorite. Like today, you're using Gateron blues, you think they're okay, then you try Gateron reds, and then you try Gateron browns, and those are really nice too. And then tomorrow they give you Gateron oranges, which are very similar to the Gateron browns but slightly different. And then tomorrow again you get another set of Gaterons that are maybe Gateron cap yellows, cap switches, cap milky, whatever you want to call them, which are similar to the yellows but also quite different. So it's like you have so many options when it comes to actuation, force, sound, feel, the way the key reacts to every press, and the way it feels on every single type of keycaps that you try to test on your keyboards or your favorite keyboards. So the sheer number, the variety that Gateron offers you to actually be able to test these different switches is absolutely ridiculous to me, and I almost cannot get the same feeling or replacement from Cherry MX switches. Now, these are all very subjective reasons, of course, and your reasons might be different, but that's pretty much why I almost always choose Gateron switches over Cherry MX switches. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I guess I will see you on another video that was shot by Kagan. Peace.
The God of Gods!